TCC Judgment 115 宪判 3, case on the prohibition of retransferring a juvenile protection case. High notes. To the extent that the receiving court of a transferred juvenile protection case is unable to provide more adequate protection to the juvenile concerned and is categorically prohibited from further transferring the case without exception, the second clause of Article 15 of the Juvenile Justice Act violates the protection of juveniles' personality rights under Article 22 and 156 of the Constitution. Background note: the first clause of Article 15 of the Juvenile Justice Act permits a juvenile court to transfer a case to another competent court if doing so better serves the juvenile's interest. However, pursuant to the disputed provision, the transferred case may not be further retransferred. A question arose as to whether such prohibition on retransferring without exception violates the Constitution. The petitioner of this case is a judge of Hualien District Court Juvenile Division, who lodged two petitions for two pending juvenile protection cases, one involving special procedure for at-risk juveniles, and the other concerning juvenile delinquents of lesser seriousness. Both petitions involve juveniles who resided elsewhere but had been transferred to Hualien District Court, one of the court of the competent jurisdiction, based on their household registration addresses, requested by the juvenile and their guardian to retransfer the case to court in their actual places of residence were precluded by the disputed provision. The petitioner believed that the disputed provision was inconsistent with the state's obligation to protect juveniles under Article 156 of the Constitution, as well as the right to institute legal proceedings under Article 16. The petitioner stayed the proceedings and filed a petition for constitutional review in March and July 2025. Summary of the holding. The disputed provision requires that the juvenile court to which the said case is thus transferred may not further transfer the case in question again, to the extent that the transfer court cannot provide better protection to the juvenile involved and is prohibited categorically from further transferring the case. The said provision contradicts the spirit of Article 22 and 156 of the Constitution, which, in order to safeguard juveniles' personality right, imposed on the state the obligation to provide special protection for their physical and mental well-being, as well as the healthy development of their personality. The disputed provision shall cease to be effective immediately as of the announcement date of this judgment. Relevant authorities shall amend the provision within 2 years in accordance with the spirit of the judgment. Before the amendment is complete, a transfer court may, after investigation, further transfer a case should it believe another juvenile court with jurisdiction can offer better protection. Juvenile involved, their statutory agents, and the people currently entrusted with the protection of the juvenile or the assistance of an item may file interlocutory appeal against the juvenile's retransfer decision.